Hey everybody, welcome! Welcome. Today is Monday, and today is also the day of the Cockatrice challenge. Today we're going to see everybody's work, everyone who participated, and we will announce the winner of the paint over and maybe some special mentions. So, hello Maria. Hello. I hope my computer will work now because I had a while ago while I was doing something else, I had the same issue that I was having already last week. So hopefully it will behave well. Let's start with this. This is my cockatrice. It's not finished, obviously, because I didn't have enough time, unfortunately. I apologize. Hey, Fiddle. I will eventually finish it, probably. But this is what I got so far. It was supposed to be some sort of game card, I guess, idea, since it has a little more background. But let's start with everyone's work. Let's start with, let's see. Actually, let's announce the winner, okay? So the winner, and by winner, I don't mean the actual winner of some prize, because there is no real prize, but the winner of the paint over is Naki. Congratulations. He's not here yet, but he's gonna see it. The reason why I chose, well, we technically chose this, me and Chase, is because it's very alternative. It's like a technological cockatrice. I thought it was really interesting, a really cool idea with the exhaust pipes there. But we're going to come back to this later. Let's go back to everyone else first, okay? So, oh, hey there, Emperor of Cheese. Let me actually tune into Twitch also. Yep, yeah, we also had the Emperor of Cheese in joining our challenge this time with the 3D model, and we're going to see it soon. So yeah, I know Chase likes it a lot because it's mechanical. We're going to see what to do with this one in a moment. First, let's see everyone else's work. Everyone did a very good job, so let's see. Let's start with Maria, since she's here. Student is not yet. So, good job, Maria. This is Maria's piece. It's a really interesting piece. I like the energy beam. In terms of improvements, if I can write here, okay. So I would say, I think you, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you did use some of the reference that I shared, because I can tell that you seem to have used some reference for the wings. The pose is maybe a little stiff, like it's just kind of straight. So I would have liked to see maybe something more dynamic, something more of an S curve. This is more of a straight, which is fine. Like straights are fine, but for the whole pose, I would go for something a little more, especially for something like this, something a little more curved. Okay, something like that. And then grab some random bird. Okay, I'll make the wings a bit bigger, says Chase. Also, yeah, could also do that. Like you can just grab this and with whatever tool you use, duplicate. Yeah, if you couldn't duplicate it and or maybe make this smaller and the wings bigger, and then you could obviously then fix all the rest. But yeah, the idea is cool. I think it would mainly need to be a little more dynamic, and maybe also the tail. Yeah, the tail. Like if you make the wings bigger, the tail might also want to be a little longer. And in general, like, just follows whatever I said in Discord in terms of maybe using a little more reference, but especially focusing on simple volumes. Hey, Student 17, we're going to get to your piece soon. I hope you're doing good, by the way, Student 17. Thanks for participating, you as well. Yeah, like, focusing a little more on simple volumes. I think you kind of are doing that here. Like this is more of a cylinder, but then you would have to add a little more secondary shapes or forms, like the pecs here probably. going into the wings and showing how the various things interlock. Like this is a different thing compared to this, and we'll probably need to go down and then do something like this, and this would come, like would go back and then would come to the front, something like that. But it's a good concept. You got good concepts. I just recommend doing some more, a lot of boxes and cylinders and spheres, and then trying to combine them together and get something, and then you can do your piece after you do that. You're gonna kind of feel different when you do it. You will think more in 3D space. I would understand some of the feathers possibly too. They look a little stunted. That's what Chase says. Yeah, you could have a little more variety in the feathers also. But the main thing for me is volumes and the pose, which is a little too straight. Okay. So let me catch up with the chat. Okay. All right, everybody. Everyone is glad that everyone else is there. Let's do Fiddle since he's here. I know he's gotta go to eat later. I think he is, right? Yeah, still here. Fiddle, say hello if you are. Okay, Fiddle's piece is not finished. He didn't have time to finish it, but it's cool. I like it. So, nice job. I kind of like the colors, honestly. It's a muted scheme, and I like the way you treated the claws here. Pretty interesting. Also, the fact that it's a little humanoid in the front. One thing, so. The first thing I would actually think about here, let's see, what did I do? Let me remove this, oops. I don't know what I did, okay. Let me use a different color, blue. So, I would draw, I don't know if you did, but I would draw through a little more. So like here, probably because of how big the wings are, or the feathers. These are more feathers than wings, like feathers attaching here. I would say draw through more, so you have to visualize how the full thing in 3D space would be. Like, I have a hard time understanding what's going on here because technically this should go backwards, right? It should go back in this direction, but then it becomes really tall. So it's like this, where the neck is kind of compressed into the bulk of the body, and then there's the tail, which is fine if that's what you wanted to do. It's just that I find that it's a little confusing, like for the viewer. So I would probably, do something like this. You would draw through, figure out what's in the back, and then do it. This would also probably be on this side, this claw here. It's actually good. Cockatiels has to have big wings, and you got it on point. This, yeah. Oh, they're big. Yeah, that's fine. I was just saying that if you want them to be wings, they would probably need a little more structure, like actual wings, and these are more like feathers. But that's a later concern. That's about anatomy. I would first try to focus more on drawing through, like what's going on this other side. Well, maybe the other leg is here, goes back a little, and then we'll probably end up here rather than when you have it. If it's a little more flat, like a bird leg, because it seems to be a little strange the way it comes out. So I would try to clarify that mainly. And there is this. It's okay. Obviously, again, it's not finished. So, Chase is talking to his AI girlfriend. And yeah, for the rest, I don't want to add too much meat on the grill, but maybe using a little more reference for the wings. If you want to make wings, if you want to make just feathers, it's absolutely fine. But again, since it's not finished, it's okay. Just make sure you draw through and remember to think about what's on the other side every time. So if you want to draw this, If you want it to be like that, so it's just a kind of a tadpole shape, and then you have the neck here, but then you have to think, okay, if this is the hips, this side and this side, where is the leg going on the other side? So one is here and one is there, so something like that, right? So remember, always think about both sides of the drawing. It's like you gotta have laser X-ray vision, basically. Now let's see. Student 17. Okay, good job, student 17. Chase says he likes the vibrant color on Fiddle's piece. Yeah, the color scheme is nice, as I said before. Very nice. Student 17, nice job. It's interesting. I like the fact that the beak reminds me of some kind of stork, I guess, animal, and the jewel in the chest that makes it like a dragon, makes it look like a dragon. Also, the mace on the tail. It's very like JRPG-ish as a monster. I don't know how I feel about the feathers here because it kind of makes it look like hair a little bit. So I would probably do something that's a little more feather-ish, like a little more crazy. This in terms of design. Because otherwise, I don't know, I kind of have the feeling it looks a little bit like hair, the way it is. And I don't know if it fits the kind of creature. It fits the kind of creature. And well, the wings, I guess, would definitely need some more work in terms of anatomy. More reference again. That's what most people usually need. That's a little more reference. So let's see what I can do real quick here. Everything else is fine. It's just your idea, so I'm not gonna correct that. But the wings, since it seems like you wanted to make wings, they would probably need some kind of structure to support them, right? So in a bird, as I posted in the anatomy section, the pectoralis muscles would support the wings. So we have that, and then you would have, it's like a human arm, basically, where this is the shoulder, this is the elbow, this is the wrist, and then the fingers are technically here. And then there are feathers. The point is there are feathers here, right? So, oh, I did it in the same layer. I apologize. Let me go back to the first one. Not actions, history. To the very beginning. Big Bird got an upgrade. Yeah. Sesame Street Ultra Instinct. Just a little bit though. Still, again, matching the style. Oh, you mean Grand Blue? Yeah, a little bit of Grand Blue. There is some Grand Blue here. So as I was saying, need some more anatomy to support the wings. So you would have the pectoralis here. Let's ignore all the rest because it's a dragon-like creature, so obviously it doesn't need the bird structures. You could have them, but it's not necessary. But you would have the pectoralis muscles here, connect somewhere here. It doesn't matter where, it's invented. And then you would have the shoulder. So you have like the humerus that's going up. Or actually, no, usually it goes down a little bit. It goes down a little bit, or straight, and then it goes up. So this is the first part is the humerus, then you got the radius and ulna fused together. And then you got probably the alula here, that's like a small finger with the feather attached here. And then you got feathers. So, oops, what did I do? Let's put it back to where it was. So then here you would have the body, obviously. Let's leave the body as it is. Maybe make the tail a little thicker and a little longer to match the rest of the creature. And then you would have some wings, some feathers attaching here, and some feathers attaching here. I don't want to go into the details because otherwise it's going to become a bird anatomy lesson. But there are some feathers that are called coverts, and there are some primary and secondary flying feathers. So these are like primary, and they're going to be here, and there's some secondary, they're going to be down here. So that's pretty much what I have to say about this. Just, again, use more reference. Because especially for birds, it's very easy to tell that, wings need some work. So I would spend some time I would put some time into like studying the actual wing anatomy, because you're not going to forget. It's not that difficult. Once you get the first 3 bones in, that's not a bone, but it could be depending on the creature. Let's say the arm, just understanding that this is an arm and this is an elbow, it's going to make your life way easier. So, all right. See you, Maria. So that's what I have to say. Now, special mention number 1 is going to be Alessandra's piece. This is really cool. I could have won. But he won last time, so that would have not been fair. I want to make the wings are bent. Oh, something like it has movement, but you can't quite imagine it. That's why you have to use reference. Like, you can grab any bird and you're gonna see that the way the wing is, even if it's bent, like it could be like this because it's bent, right? Or if it's up, it would be straight up. But you still need all those elements. If anything, it becomes more compact, right? Just write, I don't know, eagle on Google and you will see what I mean. That's why, because of what you said, you cannot imagine it. You have to use reference. Because while you use reference and do something, you will learn that. Although for stuff like anatomy, especially animal anatomy, but also human anatomy, you actually need to do studies. Like, you actually need to study anatomy because there's no other way around. You're not gonna remember it. So you would study anatomy, and then you would make a piece using those informations you just learned. And you would kind of ingrain it in your brain, and eventually every now and then you would go over it again so that you keep your memory fresh, and then you will not forget anymore. Okay, I still happen to forget some of the wing anatomy, but I use it a lot, so at this point I kind of remember it. So this is Alessandra's piece, as I was saying. The way Alessandra makes scenes is so cool. Yeah, because he makes full illustrations. This is really, really nice. It's tough because it's way better than the Minotaur. Oh, it got stuck. See, it got stuck already. Okay, so you can tell that Alessandra took to heart what we talked about last time, because this is way better in terms of definition. Like, just see how much better this is compared to the Minotaur, and how much more defined. Like, you got hard edges here, hard edges, hard edges. This is a hard edge. This is a hard edge. This is way better than the previous one. So I might do a smaller paint over, quicker paint over later, after if I have enough time after Naki. But this is really good. If anything, I think it's a little static, like the same thing that I said for Maria. So it's pretty much a straight line. It's cool because it's got an angle, so the angle is fine. The foot is a little cut here, so would probably need a little more room. So either you cut it here, or ideally here, or just leave more room for the foot, because otherwise it's touching the base of the frame and it kind of creates a tangent. It's a sort of tangent. So I would say another layer maybe. It might be better to have a little more room here since it's a full scene. The idea is very cool, though. It's like kicking an egg. Like it's kicking the egg to you as an attack. The only thing that bothers me a bit is the thighs. Yeah, might be how it is angled. I was about to mention that. So because it's a straight-on pose, it's really hard to make it dynamic. So everything is going to be based on foreshortening, and this is really hard to foreshorten. I don't know if I will be able to foreshorten it this way. I understand how the creature is. I understand that the neck goes up, and then there is a body, and then there are the legs. So that's cool. But I would think like this would probably have to show some of the back. See, the problem with straight on is that it's really hard to tell what's going on in this case. Also because it's not such a known form. It's not well known. It's a fantasy creature. So I would probably try to angle it ever so slightly. It could be even this, like on this side, it's fine. So you could have it turn this way a little bit. And this could be probably deserve a little bit of room in the middle or need. And go back here. Probably something like this. It's really hard because now it's a stretch because it would have to, twist a little too much. But I think it would be better to show a little of that in the back. Something like that, or maybe not like this here. Wait, did my stream drop or something? Okay, no. Wait, oh no, what's it doing again? Okay. It's kind of hard to correct because it is too frontal as a view. So yeah, probably something like this. I would definitely use I would definitely avoid full front views, like 100% front view. Yeah. Cool, actually really cool job here on the wings. Really like the way they are torn and broken apart. Really nice. But again, because it's a 100% front facing, it's not possible to tell where they attach, and so they create this static feeling. They kind of trumps the composition a little bit, but the rest is good. So just probably the pose is not great, but the rendering is good, and he took to heart all of the advice he got last time. So student 17 is carving Kentucky Fried Chicken. I don't think I ever got it. I don't think I ever ate KFC. So now I hope he's still here because we're gonna get to his piece. We have another special mention, and that is the Emperor Cheese. The Emperor Cheese made a complete 3D model, or well, kind of complete. He said it's not finished, but it's kind of complete. This is one of the coolest takes on the Cockatrice I've ever seen. It's really alternative. It's borderline almost not a Cockatrice, but it's really cool. This is 3D. This is made in ZBrush, and we also got some other views, like a detail of the head. Really love the way he mixed this sort of. I don't know. Are you there? Are you still there, Cheese? What did you use as reference for the skull, or an idea for the skull? Because I can see the beak, obviously, but then I see something of a rat or a rodent. It's like, yeah, it's a dark fantasy Cockatrice. Nemo has a great deal of knowledge of carved up chickens. Kinda. This is really cool. I think this would deserve to be in a game, and I hope someday something that he produces will be in a game, because this is really, really nice. You got another view from the bottom to see all the anatomy. This is all stuff that you cannot see. Just to answer what student 17 was saying before, you can't make this up. Like, there's no way you can make this up. Emperor Cheese, he studies hours and hours and hours a day of anatomy just to be able to make this. So that takes time and years and years. He's been doing this for a lot of years. So, still, something that catches my eye, both the wings and the cockatrice face. I can't both look at them at the same time. It's still good. It just needs some blur, in my opinion. Oh, you mean about Alessandra's face, yeah. To be honest, the references were all over the place. I used creatures or in my Pinterest and allowed it to brew into an idea. Okay. Yeah, he did this. I would bash this with my sword. Yeah, let's. I want to remind everybody, this is not finished. Okay, this is not a finished piece. This is more of a concept. How long did it take, by the way, Cheese? Just to go back to the previous thing I was saying, did I lose my brush? I lost my brush size here. My brush. Okay, there you go. So you see, Fiddle, not Fiddle, sorry. Student 17, this is all anatomy. Like, he knows that the pecs insert here. That's the upper portion and lower portion. And there's a sternum here. And there are some scales here. And the serratus is here. The triceps, brachialis, biceps, some tendons. This is also human anatomy. This is basically deltoid. Probably tendons and muscles from the neck and skin, the extensors and flexors. This is all anatomy. You got to study that. There is no way around it, and he's very good at that. That's his specialty, basically. It's nowhere near finished, and I worked on it on and off within the span of maybe 6 days. 45 minutes, an hour each night. Okay, so it's like about 6 hours in. The picture right now makes it look like it got its nailed. Yeah, yeah, because it's like this. It's in the girl please pose. It's not that silly. You can tell. This is the classic wyvern walking on the knuckles, basically. Pose, which is really cool. So the only thing that I would do differently is the tail. Like, I would make the tail longer. Just a personal taste. It's not critique. It's just how I would do it. Obviously, I cannot critique it technically. It's way better than what I can do. I do not have this kind of absolute knowledge of muscles and bones and tendons. But this is a great example for everybody to where you can get if you know anatomy well, and if you use enough reference, because he used a lot of reference. So as he said, here and there, but this is a great example. Again, you can see that there is knowledge here, but there is also a lot of reference. Like, you cannot possibly remember everything, and he studied a lot of that. Look at the extensors here. This is so cool. You can tell where the ulna is, the carpus, and all of the phalanges. So, good example for everybody on how to actually go about making a piece, even if it's not a drawing. This is how you use the reference, right? You cannot possibly remember everything. You use your reference to fill up the space that you do not know. Pretty much. Patella here. All of the muscles. I don't know what kind of anatomy this is, but it works because it's supported by actual reference. So it's very realistic. There's lots of reference to study anatomy on the internet, a student. Yeah, just look for anatomy on Pinterest. You can find a lot of stuff. Or grab a book, any book. Like Bridgman is a little hard. You can try Michael Hampton. Let me write in full caps. Michael Hampton. This is really easy for beginners because it's color coded, and he's got a very good breakdown of volumes and human anatomy. You can start with that and work your way through all of the rest of the resources. Because anatomy is important. Human anatomy is going to inform this. This is a shoulder. This is a human shoulder. This is a human arm. Also, animal arm, because in fact, humans and animals, especially mammals, but also birds, share more or less the same structure. It's just stretched and squished and squashed so that it makes sense for the thing they do. But the human, human anatomy, you're on your way to becoming a creature designer, obviously, and because it goes into a lot of creature design most of the time. It makes sense. Bigger tail would serve as a good counterweight. That's right. Yeah. Right now it seems like very heavy in the front, especially because it's got a big head. So in order to fly, I would think bigger wings, or if it doesn't fly, bigger tail. So I study anatomy every night. Yeah. I see where you're going there. Studying girl AI anatomy, let's go. But everything Nemo is saying is correct about the importance of anatomy. That's the vastus lateralis, where? Oh, here? Oh, here. This one. Yeah. It's more horse-like, yeah, in terms of positioning. I was playing around with ideas. Yeah, horse or even feline. The quadrupeds generally have this kind of anatomy. And look at, this is really interesting. I think this is a latissimus, the way he used it to turn it like going into the back and then becoming like spikes. Again, this is just human anatomy. You take a human, it's got the same muscles, but this is like a creative way to do that, to do this. And serratus here, obviously, again, tendons. So this is great. I don't know more to say about this. This is just it's great, and I think this should be finished, or even in this form, posted on social media, because I think you're going to get a lot of followers. And I know you don't like me saying this, but I will keep pestering you about it until you do it. All right, let's move to the winner, and let's start with the paint over. He's not here. Hopefully he's going to see it in the VOD. Naki. Very nice, Naki. I like this because of the concept. This is an original take. It's completely non-standard. It's not even an actual creature. It's a mechanical monster. And that's really fun. I thought it was really fun, a really cool idea, and a really cool take. So let's work on it a little bit. So first off, if Chase has anything, Cheese, everyone else, have anything to say about it before I start with my own paint over, feel free. So maybe I'll do a chill stream on Discord when I sculpt and let you guys pop in and help me sculpt. That would be cool. Yeah, you can use the Discord if you want. So to get started, this is more of a, this is not an illustration. This is like a finished color piece. So let me actually change color in the back. So first off, I would not crop the figure so close to the border, because it makes it feel a little trapped. So just give it some room, even if it's just an image like without context. Give it some space. Give it some space so that it breathes and the eye has room to wander around it. Otherwise, it kind of creates tangents. What's this? Okay, this is Italian. It says a mechanical chicken for a chicken of an artist. It's a pun. I saw that, so hopefully you will see it in the VOD. Congrats to the Robo Bird. Really cool turn. The wings looking like exhaust ports is a neat idea. This is really neat. I just like the idea. I like how he tackled the whole thing. Now, the very first thing that I notice is this. So it's a little, there is no lighting. So it feels a little flat because the lighting is even. Like all of there are things that have local value, but there is no value itself in the picture. So you take this and it's pretty much the same as this. See, this is here, or this is here, like say, towards the top, and this is towards the bottom, but they're very, very close, and there's like the difference is negligible. So the first thing I would probably tackle is value. So let me yeah, I'm gonna train in black and white actually. I think it's a value issue. So it needs form. Now it's very hard to get form on a side view. This is even harder than the front view. Because side views, like even if you make a skull in a side view, it's going to be really hard to make it look three-dimensional. I don't know if this is a choice. He's not here, so I cannot ask him. But it is fine. It is. Excuse me. Need some water. Okay. Let's see if I'm not dying. I ate some like a nuts snack before, so my throat is a little dry. So the side view is a legit choice for more like for turnarounds, obviously more for like concept art. And I think this might have been the idea. I'm just guessing. Yeah, Chase is also saying there's an issue with the lighting. It feels too flat. Not the single parts. I think you actually have an idea of where you want to go, but since it's a side view, like you cannot do stuff like this. See this? This is something you would see if the head was turned the other way. So if the head is turned that way, like this, then yes, you can do that. But the hand, everything is 100% side view. 100% profile is really hard to do. So you have to play a little bit with the lighting. Let me start with, I have to basically, so what I would have to do, and maybe I will actually do it, I would have to trace over it, but I need a lighter background. So let me do this. So I would probably trace over it a little bit, like 101. So basically, you take the line art for this, which is fine. Like I'm not, I don't have any issue with the design. The design is cool. You can keep it 100% as it is. I just missed some parts. I'm probably going to oversimplify them now because I'm tracing over a drawing I don't see well. So I apologize if I do, but it's something in the ballpark. So it is fine as a profile. But even if you do a profile, and later we will see how to add some lighting to it. Even if you do a profile, you always have to think about what this thing is in 3 dimensions. The same thing that I said for Fiddle might also apply here in the sense that, you know, there is something underneath here. And I feel like, let me actually group these. I feel like it's really hard to tell them apart because it's profile, and so and because it's everything has the same lighting. So I'm going to try to guess what you want to do here. Again, we don't see the attachment. I would recommend not using side views unless you're really, really skilled. Like here I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Probably, so this is probably going, let's see. I think the exhaust pipes are in the front. Probably something like this. This is good. Like, I can see you're trying to render the 3D form here. So this is fine. So you do have some sense of that. But then some parts are really hard to tell apart. Like, you need to clarify this probably. And then this, oops, this here. This is probably some sort of flexible thing. This is absolutely fine. But again, you cannot get the overlap. Otherwise, what you're doing is something like, it's like higher on one side and lower on the other. And I don't think this is the case because unless you wanted to do that, because the head is profile, but then here these things are like, if you see this from the front, it would be something like so it does, let's see, it's got something in the middle like this, so it's like, it's not exactly, no, something like this. It starts out like this, but then progressively goes lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. So this is what's happening here. It's turning as if these are actually facing us like this, right? These are turning and twisting, and you cannot see what I'm doing with my hands. I'm actually doing the twisting motion with my hands. So it's like it starts out looking flat, which is correct because this is a profile, but then it slowly turns that way, and so you start seeing some of the overlap because so it's like this sort of shape, right? It's this sort of shape here in 3D. It's like hollow. You see it from the top. It's something like that, right? Something like that, or like that probably. So if you show this, the bottom, it's twisting. There is no way around it. It's just twisting, and that is not correct. So just keep them all straight. It's fine. I know it looks flat, but that's the nature of the profile. If anything, again, do not do profiles because they're really hard to get something dynamic out of. Unless you want to show a turnaround, you've got other poses also. So this all goes flat. This is flat, 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 and flat. And it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that being 100% flat. Same here. The crest. The crest is also, it's probably overlapping a little bit, so what you get here is like this, probably. Then you get some piece here. Some areas are also too busy, I think. There's too much going on, but we'll get to the shading part later. And here I guess it attaches here somewhat, so the neck starts here. Yeah, the neck is probably going back a little bit, like it's bending backwards, so it's fine. Again, simpler form, and underneath here probably has, so these are hinges. This is going forward here actually, which is cool. This is a fine hinge. So probably here there's something that attaches here, and then there's something else here, something like that, I assume, which is correct. The mechanisms are fine. Again, okay, no, this is the other part. I thought you were doing the 3D part. This is fine. This is completely flat. I mean, profile, so it's cool. Okay, see you later, Emperor of Cheese. So this is like the hinge mechanism, which is okay. You might want to use, maybe you had it, but I don't know, some more mechanical reference. But it's, you don't really need that, but you might want it to clarify some of these things. Like this is not, I'm not exactly sure what that could be. So I'll just simplify it a little bit as a machine type of part of some sort. I don't know. Yeah, see, these are very unclear. So they need to be clarified a little more. You need to know exactly what this is, like what kind of shape it has, what kind of, not necessarily function, man, I'm about to sneeze, but somewhat. You need to know, okay, this is this type of hinge, why is it here, does it make sense here, because it's a robot. So, like, you cannot have like a ball pivot here in the middle. I mean, you can if it makes sense, but probably doesn't as much for this kind of thing. So this is maybe one piece, and then you got the claws. And yeah, they might be overlapping a little bit because one is longer than the other, which is fine. One maybe is also taller than the other, which is fine. Maybe the middle one is longer, so you can do something like this, but they have to be, it's a profile, so they have to be on the same line. So everything has to be like an ortho view, like this. And the other, it's very confusing, drawing-wise. So I'm not sure what's going on exactly, but I would probably not put it there at this point because it's like violating the two-dimensional space that you created. Because again, this is a profile, so this is like somewhat coming towards us, like this and bending. But this means that the bird is actually, so if this is the front view of the bird, let's try to make it decent. The bird in this case is like this. So one of the legs is correctly here. So this is one of the, so this is a normal hinge, so it's like this. And one is like here. And the other is doing something like this, right? Which like towards, it's like almost towards the inside. I don't think that makes much sense because it's a mechanism. Even if you can swivel the thighs, let's call them, a little bit, it just feels weird because the rest of the pose is static. Like there is no, it's not possible. This could not balance ever. So the central weight is here in the center because it's a static pose, and so this way the creature would have no way, like no way to balance. It would fall. So you're gonna have to think about all these things when you draw because people are gonna pick up on that unconsciously. And this is what's going on here. It's kind of throwing the thing out of balance because everything is profile, and then you have these little things that makes it not so profile. So just be aware of that and be mindful of that. Now the back, I think this is, let's see, because of the color, this is part of the same, probably. Let's simplify a little bit. I like the tail here, really cool. Really nice, actually. Interesting design. If I can make a straight line here. Okay. So this is nice. This is fine. The design per se is pretty cool, apart from those little things that I mentioned. Perceptive people will. Not just perceptive. I think you can kind of tell. I mean, at some point your brain will figure it out. Even if it's unconscious. An unconscious thing. Same thing here. So unless you have two rows of these, so you have one on the left and one on the right, this cannot happen. So you can't see part of the top because it's profile. So I will treat this as a full profile. So these are going to be on the top. Okay. Maybe they are a little larger actually. They're like a little curved on the bottom, but not. It cannot be as much. My nose tickles. I hope I'm not catching a cold. So you probably make them. So these are flat right now. You probably have to make them a little thick if you want something like that. But it can't be as much as you have it. So you can make it a little thick, but then the top needs to be flat. And then these, at least to me, they look like they're kinda thin. So they would probably not do this. Like if you see this from the front, so what I'm imagining is that it's a little bit like this because it's on the top. And then the blades, they sit here and protrude upwards, right? This is what's happening from the front. So it's gonna be something like this. You cannot see this corner. Like you cannot see this, Jesus, it's turned off. You cannot see that corner. Like this one, this cannot happen unless they are on both sides, which might be, but you're not here, so I don't know what your intention was. So if, let me actually post on the Discord in case he is around, if you can see this. Well, it's useless to do everyone because everyone already joined already, but I'm gonna do it. In case he sees that, maybe I will also announce Naki is the winner of this round. In case he's around, you might see it. So you cannot see the side here unless it's like a 3. It's like spike, like how can I put it? It's got like this thing going on the front. So it's got like a point that protrudes forward. It's like this kind of shape, which might be. I don't know if it is. So I apologize if it is. But otherwise, you cannot see the side. Like if this is supposed to be flat like that, you can't see the side. According to the trend that I've seen in the rest of the drawing, that might be what your idea was. So I would keep it flat. I would keep it 100% flat, honestly. So you can see already the actual design is cool. It's just that the lighting is trumping it a little bit. It's here, like even here, it's kind of hard to tell if the exhaust here is in front or in the back. Like in front of the tail here or in the back. I assume there are two, so this is in front, so that's what I'm gonna do. It's how I'm gonna treat it. So I'm gonna do like this, and then if it's angled a little bit, again, only if and when it is angled, you can see that thing. So you can see this if it's not straight, because if it's straight, it's gonna be like this. But we can angle this a little bit. It's fine. I would probably avoid the fire like this, because that's not really how fire looks. So I would have left like the glow maybe alone. Be fine. Obviously, I am grossly simplifying things here. Also, because of the design you have on the tail, this is a bit of a tangent. This thing is a bit of a tangent, and you don't want that. So I would probably make the bottom of the tail bigger so that it overlaps, so there is no doubt what's going on. The exhaust you're talking about looks like it's supposed to be the tail, but it looks angled toward the camera, which clashes with the ring exhaust, right? So it's just a little, it's angled ever so slightly. So I'm pretending there are two, because I don't know what he wanted to do. So if that's just the tail, so if it's just one, then it would have not to be angled. Okay, let's actually do what Chase said because it makes a little more sense to me. So the exhaust here is attached to the bottom of the body, and then it's flat. It has to be flat again because it's profile. And then it connects. Okay, let's add a sort of a connection with the tail, something like this. Excuse me. It goes into the tail. Man, it's been raining so much. I got a little cough. So it goes into the rest of the body, and it's part of the tail. Something like that probably works. Let's see. Yeah. So the actual exhaust is inside here, and then this plate here covers it a little bit. I think it works a little better. And obviously it can be designed a little like that. But always be mindful of what's underneath. And here we get a little bolt. These are fine. Like these I have no problem with. They're just like Metal Gear Solid looking patterns. If anything, this one pattern here, it looks like you might... I don't know if you did, but... I kind of feel like you might have used the emboss filter. Like embossing, it looks like it's embossed. Like if you go on here and you go on layer, where is that? Layer blending options. There is an emboss filter, bevel and emboss, and it kind of reminds me of that. So it doesn't help. I would say don't use it. If you used it, never use it ever again. Yeah, if you use that, just don't. It looks really bad. If you didn't, still don't do this thing where you have one side that's black and the other is white, because it's gonna look like the emboss filter. Like a lot of these parts look like that, so I would avoid it. Instead, try to make it look a little more like, instead of using that, maybe try something longer like this. Maybe also a little curve that could convey the fact that it is a little more of a mechanical slash biomechanical creature. And then here you could have something like to cover it. This is just shape design basically. Maybe like a hatch sort of thing like this. Then you can look at Gundams. If you look up Gundams, you're gonna have a lot of space for stuff like this. Like you get little hatches here, little indents and stuff that are pretty cool. Usually there are stuff like this, and it's pretty easy to do. I think it looks a little better. Kind of reminds me of the pattern on the Metal Gear Array. So also here, I see what you were going for. You wanted to emphasize that one part was darker and the other lighter, so there was a crease, but technically in this case it would be the opposite. So since the light usually comes from the top, I didn't know if there was a filter if you drew it that way. I don't know either. We will know when he posts, I guess later on Discord. So if the light comes from the top, it's not going to do this. Like the bottom part is going to be light. If there's a crease, a fissure, the bottom part is going to be light because it catches, the edge catches the top light, and the other is going to be dark. So if you want to render an edge, you're going to do, oh no, I got white here, but you're going to do something like this. If anything, like the bottom part is going to be, the bright part is going to be where the light is coming from, so it's going to catch that. It's basically the opposite. Light from the top, the crease, the edge is going to be lit on the bottom. So dark line on top and white line or brighter line on the bottom. And this also creates an issue here because you got this. So the light here technically comes from the back, but then here comes from the front. Because here, this part in black is shadow. So, and then here again from the bottom, and here again from the bottom. So it's very confusing way to light things. So anyway, can I ask, what is your nationality? Italy. Yeah. Hence the accent. I'm sorry. I'm trying to correct it. Chase is going to teach me. It's way better than it used to be anyway. It used to be pretty bad. Not as bad as other people, because I learned through video games just doing impressions, but kind of bad. I would say pretty bad. So now the wings. I'm going to do the wings on another layer maybe. I'm going to duplicate, what's this? Nothing, it's empty. I duplicate this because I want to keep a copy. So the exhausts are fine. Again, all of this design is fine. If anything, the segments might need to be a little more varied, but I like the fact that you try to make them less bones. So that's fine. These are angled necessarily, obviously. They need to be angled. And this is going to merge with this. I'm going to remove, I'm going to leave both layers. Yeah. So maybe for the bottom. I still want to know what's going on underneath, but not that much. I thought you were American. No. Chase is going to laugh now because I told them some people think I am. And they told me no, I was in Japan, but I'm not. Thank you anyway. It's not that bad here either, but a native picks it up. A native knows. I don't know. I can't fool a native speaker. Also because it's mostly about construction of sentences. Sometimes I realize I construct sentences the way I would in another language that's not English. So be it Italian or Japanese. So again, this is fine. Let's just trace over it. I don't think there's a drawing problem in the design. He says it's fine. That's not what he says in private. Okay, here if anything I would make these look maybe a little thicker towards the bottom, but again it's just nitpicking, it doesn't matter. I like the way they kind of nestle into, go into the holder. Oops, let's see if this got stuck. And is there something there? Oh no, so the bottom of the exhaust would have been fine. Apologies. And this, yeah, these would probably, I would make them beautiful. Careful to tangents here. Right, maybe, yeah, it's close, but let's keep it. This probably, no, this is straight still. This is still straight here. And then there's this. This is fine because they are not exactly super straight. It's also this. Okay, and then there are some. Sure, I guess they were supposed to be feathers. I would probably simplify. I would just make membranes. You know, I got membranes. Europeans and Americans can tell each other apart easily. Other countries, not much. Yeah, I guess. So I would probably do something different. This is too much. I think it's too much detail here. You can have some things there. Probably not that way. This is pretty much the only design choice I would change. I would simplify it a little bit because it still starts to be a little too much detail. But anyway, we got the base now. Okay, look. Okay, if you look at this, just the drawing, this is a really cool design. It's a really, really cool design here. So the drawing is not a problem. I basically traced over his design. And this is really cool. Just look at it. It's fine. It's nice. Again, minus those things. That might be a little too much. You can have them, but you can just add them like this, maybe. Something like that. It starts feeling a little too crowded for me, so I would not do it personally, but it's fine. Now, what it needs is lighting. So if I go over it, usually again lights coming from the top. So this might be a little too much. Let's use a mid-gray and multiply. So you would have something. Probably these are metal. Metal is hard to do. So you would have to do something like this probably for the metal. I realize that making it of metal makes it pretty hard to envision in terms of lighting, but you can still, have an approximated guess. Like this part would be darker overall because, light comes from, even if it comes from here, the bottom is always going to be darker. You can have some metallic parts here. The inside is either going to glow or not. And then you got a pretty much just occlusion. All you get here, or most of what you get here, is occlusion. So you can have some darkness here in the things in between here. Another part where occlusion would be a thing is here, where they go into the wing. This would probably be lighter. Oh, you made it back. Great. See, already it's starting to feel like there is some sort of lighting, and since the drawing is so good, like the concept is good, you would not need to do much. Like you just trace over it and then carefully think about, okay, what's going on here? Where's the light coming from? Okay, it's coming from the top. Okay, then the top part is always going to be lighter than the bottom part. So we can do several things. We can first add some occlusions like I'm doing now, and I think those, yeah, these pipes are dark apart from that last one. Señor cheese, señor formaje. Then you got, again, emphasizing the occlusion here. Maybe some parts are overhanging each other. Another thing that I don't see as overhang, so probably this part is darker. Maybe the eye is glowing, but it's in the dark. Like this part is darker because it's going underneath this crest. Maybe the crest. The problem with side view is that you cannot possibly imagine, hey Naki, this is your piece. Welcome. So glad you made it. I am tracing over your piece. I suggest you also look back the VOD, but let me just recap this for you. If you need a translation later, I will send it translated. Like I'm gonna send you the critique in Italian also. Just let me know. So basically, this is great. You're the winner. Because this is really cool. I love the idea. It's just such a cool piece. I would love to see this in a game, actually. So the main thing is that, so there are two things. The first thing is that This is a side view, so it's really hard to render the volumes, which you need at that point to render with lighting. And I think the lighting here is a little flat. I'm showing it here. And the second thing is that because it's a side view, you cannot get these things here. You cannot get the overlap because it is a side view. So unless you had something specific in mind, which I do not know, and we can talk about it later if you want on Discord, even privately, these cannot happen. So the way I redrew it is completely from the side. And you can see this is just a trace over of your drawing. It's really cool. Like, I like the design. This is a really cool design. And so the only thing that I'm doing after tracing it is, let me pick the color that I use though. There you go. Is adding some lighting. So because you have everything else, see, everything has pretty much the same lighting here. It's like very flat lit. It's kind of hard to tell where some parts are, or what they are, or what they're doing, or where they're going. So what I'm doing now is just going over it. I am deciding that the light comes from the top. And because of that, the parts on the bottom are going to be slightly darker. So I'm actually going to do this on a single layer, or not. You know what, maybe not. So yeah, I'm going to add a larger shade here over it. This is metal, so obviously it needs to have a little bit of a different treatment. Like the pipes are going to be a little different because they're made of metal. So they're going to have highlights and stuff. And I suggest you just grab a real exhaust pipe and use it as a reference because they have like chrome and stuff. Chrome is really hard to get from imagination. I don't know if you had reference or not. So they got very high gloss specular reflections. Oops. And so then I would probably add another layer, put it on multiply, and do the same thing. If it doesn't get stuck, which it did. So I would go over it and then start, okay, like the side panel is darker. Actually, you know what? Let me duplicate this. Like this, I'll multiply. So the side panel is darker now. Obviously, it's darker than the top because the top catches the light almost directly. Then this part is slightly darker. The highest, depending on where the light source is, the highest point is going to be the brightest. So you're going to have something like this going towards the top. And then there's going to be some cast shadowing here going on. The beak is probably also going to be in the dark because it's, I would say the top part is overhanging this. And possibly have some reflections. I'm not adding reflections now, but that's a little more complicated. But it could be a matte-ish metal. You could have some sort of reflection like this. You know, something like that. And then darker parts. And then the eye is glowing, and then you got these things that also have some reflection. I would advise against doing everything super reflective. If anything, just make it a little more like the Metal Gear Ray. Like a military tank sort of gray or metal. Brush metal, I don't know. These, again, depending on the light, would have a different value. I'm assuming that the top part is overhanging the bottom part, so there is a cast shadow here. Let's pretend. But already, look at how good it is. Like, lighting does a lot, honestly. So most of the issues were because of the flat lighting. I don't know if Cheese or Chase have anything else to add. You can also emphasize some highlight here if this part is brighter, which might happen sometimes. This might be some overhanging here. This probably overhangs this. Let's pretend the lighting is from the pretty much front, top, something like that. which means that this is also going to get a little darker. But the point is, it's a matter of emphasizing the forms that you cannot get otherwise. You cannot get forms in a, or not much, in a side view. So I think this is pretty much what I wanted to say about this piece. You see, this is so this was the original, and this is my paint over. It's the same thing, but I think the various volumes they have been clarified a little bit. I think you're doing pretty well in feedback. Okay, thank you. I would, if color makes it hard, also because I think you use too many colors here. I don't have K gamut here. Otherwise, I would put in here and show you what happens with the histogram. I would use way less colors than you used because you use too many, in my opinion. Like there's this red, like next to the metal here, then blue, green, purple, yellow, orange, cream, military green. Too many colors. Light for me is ever a challenge. That's understandable. It is for a lot of people. So I suggest you do a lot of. Hey, hello, Jim Lotus. The Earth is flat. Probably not. Yes. It's the end of the stream anyway. Wait, how do I do that? Oh, it is? Oh, it could be. Wait a second. Here. Okay, I think I did it. All right. It worked. So, what was I saying? Yeah, lighting. Try to do more black and white exercises. Naki, more black and white. And it's gonna come. It's gonna take time. You're just gonna grind it. Unfortunately, there's no secret. It's just a lot of time. And it is annoying to do, but this is probably gonna get some light and some dark. So it's your history. yeah, I blocked him. Oh no. Which we have roasted. Yeah, you should. I don't know if we can put you as a moderator on YouTube as well. Mod powers activate. Anyway, obviously you do not have to leave the outline like I did, Naki. This is just to show the concept, but like as you proceed, like this stuff would go away because this would be way more gray. Like overall, this would be darker because of the colors. And then you would have the possibility to add some actual highlights, like here. See, you could do this later. And then you could do the thing you did there, see? You can add those little things that you added on the bottom. Something like that, see? But they have to be consistent. They always have to be at the bottom. In this case, if the light comes from the top. So it's going to be here, it's going to be here, it's going to be here, right? I guess this is what he wanted to get, more or less. So let's close it on the spammer. Let's close it on the spammer here. We're going to come back tomorrow with, I think I'm going to do a Jack-in-a-Box type of monster. I was thinking I'm going to brainstorm it with Chase later, but probably. And then for the last monster of the pack, which is going to be after I come back, but also probably this is going to be after I come back, finish. I was thinking of a Oogie Boogie sort of thing, like a ghost like a blanket type of ghost. So you're welcome, Naki. I hope it was useful. If you want to rewatch it or if you need clarification, just feel free to hit me up on Discord. And I'm going to send you the PSD now anyway. Well, not now, later after dinner probably. Yeah, flower sat ghost, basically. So, thanks again, everybody who participated. Thanks again, pretty much everyone from the Discord. Naki, Chase, Cheese, Maria, also the spammer, Student 17, Fiddle. Also, thanks everybody who participated the challenge. We're gonna be back with another challenge in October 1st. I will figure out what to do, or maybe 2nd, because I'm gonna travel on October 1st. So it might take me a couple days before I can actually create something that makes sense. We will see. And for now, I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow, and you have a good day.